one? Oh, let's do the academic one. The academic one
This is
are
the
the
next
same
one.
as in your packet.
Right.
Okay, let's start with the academic one. Once again, as per DA local, the superintendent will recommend to the board for approval compensation plans, which include the stipends, and that's what we're gonna talk about. I broke up the stipends into two general areas. One of them is curricular and the other one is the co-curricular, or if we like to break it a different way, it's the instructional versus the athletic co-curricular. So in there, nothing has changed from the last time that we presented this. The things that are highlighted are the changes that are occurring from the 13, 14, and 14, 15. If you notice, under bilingual certification, there's a number 4, and if you go down on 4, it says the teachers must have at least 10 students throughout the school year. Before, I believe, if you were bilingually certified, you automatically got that stipend, now you're required to have 10 students. The other thing that is changing is, if you notice on math, we're going to increase the math and science stipend. Previously it was 1,000, we're recommending 1,500. TESB recommended 2,000, but we feel that right now 1,500 would suffice. The other thing that we're changing is we're going to grandfather everyone who has a stipend, a $3,000 stipend for a master's. So everybody, if you're on board, you will be, I'm recommending that we grandfather you in, and from this point on, that the $3,000 stipend be given only to individuals that receive their master's in the content specific. So if you receive a master's in reading or in math or in science, then you qualify for the 3,000. If you receive a master's in administration, but you're a teacher, then you do not get the 3,000. We're doing away with the $3,000 master's stipend across the board. So therefore, a principal, since we've approved the scale, a principal that comes in with a master's is not gonna get the $3,000 anymore, because we're now going to a different scale. We adjusted the yearbook, the cheerleader sponsor, the cheerleader sponsor, the JV and the cheerleader sponsor overall. We went ahead and adjusted those stipends. And then finally, if you notice under the band color guard, that was one that was previously not on the stipend list. We added back that, and the band color guard stipend is $2,500.
So we're adding the band color guard stipend back, but are we still leaving the money we allocated for contractual services so that they could hire the people that help them out?
Yes, that is correct. I know that there's been some misinformation out there. Last year when we went through our stipends, one of the recommendations was to take the color guard stipend and put it into consultants. That was done. This year, not only are we keeping the same budget for consultants, we're also bringing back the band color guard stipend of $2,500. Any questions on the stipends that were presented? I'm calling this curricular stipends. If not, moving on to the next part of the stipend presentation. The next part is...
Wait, sir, on this one, on all of the stipends, it says 10. Is 10 a feasible number?
I believe that it is, or...
For the bilingual and for the GP, is 10 a feasible number?
Yes,
And before, the teachers were getting it whether they had one student or no student?
that's correct. If they were certified, they received the stipend
Without the student?
without the stipend. Is that correct, Mr. Brown? No? Like the GT stipend, anybody who was certified GT would get the GT stipend? At the elementary level, yes. We're now requiring for them to actually serve the students.
At the elementary? Only
No, if they have one student.
Oh, they have to have one student, okay. Okay. They have to have at least one student in order to get the stipend. And now we're bringing it up to 10 students.
And usually when they put them in the classrooms, do they put all the GTs together, all the bilinguals together,
on to the athletic stipend. Now, this one has been a little bit harder to propose. We've looked at different models. This one here, I think, gets us closer to where we wanna be, the updated one. Closer, and we can give copies, do we have copies for our board? Okay. And on this one, I mean, we've been working, trying to make the numbers work.
So we disregard the one in our packet?
Yes, it's pretty similar, the stipends, matter of fact, the stipends are, on this proposal are lower than before. Let me just give you a little bit of history and why this has been so complicated. Okay. Let's have a quick discussion on this and why it's been so complicated. Before, the athletic stipends had two components. One, they had an actual stipend for the position or for the sport. And then individuals, especially at the high school, received additional days, anywhere from 3 days, and those days were paid at $200 a day, from 3 days all the way up to 17 days, depending on your position, your job responsibilities, and things of the sort. We also contracted with CASB to do a stipend study, and they compared us to other 3 school districts locally, and the results that came out from that study were that our stipends, that we were paying less than the neighboring school district. I mean, like I said before, a study can be a double-edged sword. It could be that we're paying more or that we're paying less, and in this case, we were paying less. So I did not bring those recommendations to the board, because that would have increased the budget in excess of $100,000, just to address, to make our stipends compatible to neighboring school districts.
So when you say school districts, who are you talking about?
We were talking about Port Isabel, Raymondville,
Area.
no, who? La Feria, or other VA school districts. There were 5 school districts that were in the comparison group. Lyford, it was Lyford, Raymondville, La Feria, Port Isabel, and one other one. I can get you that if we need it for this presentation. Can you get it for me? Okay. And I'll get you the names of those individual comparisons. So when they compared it to our neighboring school district, it showed that our athletic stipends were lower. When you looked at the athletic stipends statewide, it showed that our stipends were much higher. So what we've been trying to do is find a way to find a happy medium, and that has been hard. In other words, do away with the days, and anywhere from 3 days all the way to 17 days, depending on the position. What we have done and what CASB recommends, we took this part of CASB's recommendations, not the dollar amount, we did our own. What we were trying to accomplish is to stay within the budget that we were currently spending on stipends. So that was one of the things that we were doing. In addition, when we started putting all the stipends together, we found that there were 3 stipends that were not previously approved by the board.
There's more than 3 stipends.
There's more. The coordinator position, the defense, the offense, the special teams, the golf, season, summer workout, and football inventory had never been approved by the board.
Right. The issue was that it wasn't broken up between offense and defense coordinator. They just had a coordinator position. On this one here, on the new one, it does not show the ones that we are taking off the list. But off-season, summer workout, and football inventory were stipends, a total of 13 stipends. that were not previously approved by the board. Just for clarification, the school districts that were in the study, of the stipend study was La Feria, Lyford, Mercedes, Point Isabel, Raymondville, and Santa Rosa. So when they compared our stipends to that market, our stipends were less than what they were paying. Again, if we were to bring the stipends up to market, it would cost an additional $100,000, if I'm not mistaken, which is something that I would not, we cannot recommend. It's just $100,000 more. So taking the concept though and doing away with days and doing away with the stipends that were not previously board approved, we came up with this salary structure. And it is, the athletic director remains the same, athletic trainer, those are the same stipends. Then there were adjustments. At the high school, most of them are losing anywhere from 1,100. I believe that the high end, low end 1,100, the high end is 4,150. At the junior high, the majority are getting a slight increase or an increase in their stipend amount. So taking everything into consideration, budget, days, value of the positions, we came up with this proposal here.
What did you use to come up with this proposal?
We used several factors. We used the recommendations. We used the Raymondville stipend, and then Ms. Fuente did a couple of phone calls on whether we needed some further clarification. So those are three. The TASB recommendations, what we were currently paying our stipends, including days, the Raymondville stipend proposal. So those three factors were being used. Again, one, what we were currently paying. Two, what TASB was recommending. Three, Raymondville School District's approved stipends. So taking all that into consideration, remember, the other thing that we were trying to do is keep the same dollar amount that we were currently spending, address the issue of days. That has been more difficult than I anticipated. So the total amount that was being spent on stipends, according to our record, was $309,500. No, I'm sorry, $297,800. $297,800. By doing this here, doing away with days, there will be 9 individuals that will be their stipend will be reduced in excess of $1,000. My recommendation to the board is that you allow me to grandfather in those 9 individuals so that they will not lose more than $1,000. I think it's a realistic request. 9 individuals.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, like for example, you have here off-season, summer workouts, football inventory, right? And you got rid of those, right?
That is correct.
Okay, did somebody check, or do we have job descriptions? Because, that's one of the things that I have been asking for since last year when we were talking about stipends. You know, how do you justify somebody's pay? I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, but how can we sit up here and say, you know what, yes, they should get it, no, they shouldn't, and we don't know what they do? I'll give you an example, like football inventory, whoever this person is. Okay, like, what is it that they do? Do they, you know, I know that it has a lot of equipment, the helmets, the shoes, the pads, you know, all those things. Do they sanitize it? Do they put it away? Do they have to keep up with the coaches? I mean, that's one of the things that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we've ever gotten a job description or, you know, for the athletic director to come and tell us, you know what, this is what they do.
The reason that you haven't received a job description is because there is no job description. And that's why we're taking them off the table. Now, I agree with you that.
Is there job descriptions for all the rest of the jobs?
Yes, there are, and I believe we have shared that before, the little booklet that says,
It's a
Athletics.
general job description, but if there's a detail, no.
But there is a job description for what they're responsible
What are
for.
responsibilities?
See, because it's not fair for, let's say, the football inventory person to be, you know, doing all this work, and then here we are saying, okay, you know what, you're not gonna get it, because there's no job description, but who's gonna hurt? Maybe the students are gonna hurt, because no one's gonna be doing that anymore. And I don't think it's, and for me, I just have a problem when it comes to job descriptions, because, I mean, I don't know what they do.
Right, but remember, two things. One, there were no job descriptions for this position, that's one. And two, this stipends were never approved by the board. Although they've been issued out for the past, we went back and found out that it's been issued for the past, what, 6 years? So you have a date? Yes?
It was 2006, that's when they.
2006, 2007, that's when the stipends first appeared on the stipend list, but they were never approved by the board.
On
And-
the payroll list.
The payroll list.
They're not on the be approved by the board list.
That is correct. Now, and I understand what you're saying, and that is a legitimate concern. The issue that I have is that I need to try to be as fair as possible, and, you know, we're gonna give football, for example, football inventory, then what about band inventory? What about volleyball inventory? What about baseball inventory? And then we can get into the discussion, well, there's 15 volleyball girls versus, I don't know, 52 football. I mean, so I don't wanna get into that kind of discussion, because it'll be a never-ending, I think, a never-ending discussion, and I don't think that people will feel properly vindicated at the end or compensated for their responsibilities. So what we've done is taken that, merged into this proposal, and what I'm asking the board is to allow me to grandfather in those 9 individuals that would be losing in excess of $1,000. In other words, those individuals, for example, there's an individual that would lose $4,150. This individual, instead of losing $4,150 in stipends, would just lose $1,000. And we would keep the $3,150. When that individual either leaves or that responsibility is given to someone else, then that stipend no longer exists.
Sir, when you say that, when you say there's no job description, how can we justify paying, let's say, 12,500, 13,500? It works both ways. I mean, how can we justify paying them if we don't have a job description?
That's a good answer, but remember two things. One, we do have a job description for the majority of the stipends. Now, is it detailed? No. The other thing that we have is that this stipend